Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Process Computing webinar. Today's session is all about the Prosys add-on packs. And what we've done over the past sort of 10 years, really, as Sage 200 has been developed and moved forward, is that we've put together a pack of additions that help and complement Sage 200 and improve the functionality that's available to you. Now, before I actually start on the actual detail of the webinar, there's just a few housekeeping pointers that I want to mention to you. On your right-hand side of the screen, you'll have a dashboard, and on there, that'll be covering up part of the screen. There should be an orange button with a white arrow, and if you just click on that, that will move that to the side, which means you've got full visibility of the screen. Secondly, halfway down, or so near the end of the dashboard, there are two options there. There are questions and there are handouts. Now, hopefully you can all hear me, but I can't hear you. So if you have any questions, if you just type them into that tab, I will answer them at the end of the webinar, at the end of this morning's session. We have added some handouts for you. There are 3 different add-on packs, and we have an information handout on each of those packs. So you should be able to download the information regarding our sales and purchase add-on pack, our stock add-on utility, and also the stock take add-on pack. So if you'd like to download those, they're there for you to keep and to work with and look at your leisure. So let's get started with our webinar. Now, as I mentioned, Sage 200 has been developed now over the past 10 years, and in that time, as business partners, we've come across many frustrations that maybe users have with the system. And so what we've done is we've written some small utilities that will help alleviate those frustrations and just make the system a little easier to use. We have the 3 add-on packs, and I'm going to be looking at each of those individually. I'm going to be looking at our sales and purchase add-on pack, followed by the stock add-on utility pack, and finally we'll look at the stock take add-on pack. The sales and purchase add-on packs, they're basically exactly the same options, but for our sales and purchase ledger, sales order processing and purchase order processing. So for the purpose of this morning's demonstration, I'm going to be focusing on the sales, but please remember that everything I'll be showing you is available within purchases as well. If we go to our sales ledger, sales accounts, and sales inquiries and account inquiry, the first thing you'll notice is when you have the add-on packs installed is you get this little extra button when you're doing a customer inquiry. By default, Sage allows you to search for your customers based on the account code, the short name and the postcode. If we select our little binoculars here, we can just type in our search criteria. We can search through the customer address, an invoice address, the delivery address, or even search for an invoice number. So let's suppose that I know that my customer is based in London. If I just type in London, it will actually look for that text in the name and all the address fields, making it easier for me to select the required customer. Once you've selected our customer, we have a Features tab on the top left-hand corner of our screen. If I just select that, we have all this functionality available to us from within our customer inquiry. So we could enter a new customer credit note, a new customer invoice, enter a new sales order, a new quotation. We can view the customer's dispatch or receipt history, view their orders, view their quotes and returns, and also view the outstanding customer orders. We also have the View Postcode Location and a View the Trader's Traceable Stock History. So let's have a little look at some of the examples that we've got there. First of all, clicking on the postcode location, what's going to happen is going to open up our web, and it's going to show us a map of the directions to that particular customer based on its postcode. Okay, it couldn't actually find that particular postcode. So it would point you with the marker on the map for that address. If we have a little look at our customer orders, we see a list of all the orders, and from here we can drill down into the detail. Now I'm within the customer inquiry screen. But this search facility and these features are available throughout the system. So even if we're entering a new customer or amending an existing customer, we will have this functionality available to us. From this screen, we could enter a new customer invoice, and that's opening our sales invoice screen. So from the sales ledger, we can enter the sales invoice details. However, if I wanted to be more detailed, I could enter a new sales order from this screen, and it's now going to open up our Enter New Order full screen with our customer already selected. And from here, we can enter our sales order. Maybe we want to raise a sales quotation. So just by selecting that option, it will open up the Enter a New Quotation, again with that customer account already selected. And from this screen, we can choose to enter the details and the details of our full quotation. We can also view just the outstanding customer orders. So rather than looking at everything, we can just look at the items that are still outstanding. It's defaulting for the last year, but we can change the date range that we want to be looking at. It's defaulted to the current customer. And what we can see are all the outstanding orders with the quantity that's on order, what's been allocated, what's been dispatched. From within this screen, if there was nothing allocated, we could allocate the details. We can print a picking list, or we could even dispatch the order directly from here. So if I select dispatch order, it's automatically chosen that particular detail and filled in the quantity to dispatch for us. As soon as I save that dispatch, the dispatch note is printed, and we can send that out with the goods to that customer. I just refresh my screen. Okay, there's now nothing to display because we've dispatched all those items, and hence there's nothing outstanding. Let's have a look at what else we have new within our customer inquiry. I'm actually going to go into amend a customer account. Okay, again, we've got the search features available to us. We also have the view postcode location, but we have some more details. We have pop-up messages, so I could add a new message that's relevant to this particular customer only. I want this message to be displayed every time we enter a new order, and I could make it active from within specific date range. The message could well be confirm the delivery address. So I'm just going to save that. So now every time I enter a new order, this message will display when we save that order. Let's have a little look at that in action. If I go to sales order processing, I'm going to enter a new order for Abbey Retail. Okay, and straight away, confirm the delivery address message has popped up on our screen. Now, while I'm in the new sales order, again, I want to show you some of the additions that we have for sales order processing. First of all, you have, again, that search button, which if I just click on that, would search for a customer based on more fields than just your account number, the short name, and the postcode. We have features here. So what we can do within sales order processing is we can add previously sold items. We can allocate the sales order, deallocate it. We could create a new customer while we're in this particular screen. So rather than coming out of here, back into our sales ledger to create the customer and then create the new order, that can all be done within this screen. We can create a new stock item. We can view details as well. So we can view the customer account, the dispatch history, the order messages that we've just had pop up, the customer orders, outstanding customer orders, stock item balances, stock item details, and images, which I'll come to in just a moment. Let's have a little look at the add previously sold items. As soon as I select that, I can see all the items that this customer has bought from us in the past. the number of orders that they've placed, the date of the last order, that order date, and what the last order quantity and selling price was. From here, I could multi-select the items that I want to include on this particular sales order. As soon as I move over there, those are the items that are going to be added to my sales order as soon as I select Save and Add Items to the order. But from within this screen, I can also look at the item details. So I can see here the details of my stock items. I could view the item balances. What am I holding in stock and at what warehouse? And I can also view the last order that the customer placed for this particular item. I'm happy with the details that I've added, and I also want to use the same quantity and the same warehouse, but I don't have to. Just by unticking those, it'll clear down those fields. I'm going to save and add those items. Yes, I'm sure. So straight away, those items have been added to my new sales order in one quick action. I still have the ability to edit the items, so I could change quantities, and if I had the user permissions, I could change the unit price as well. At the bottom of the new sales order, as well as having our Save button, we've added this Save And. So rather than saving a sales order and then separately going in to acknowledge it, allocate it, dispatch it, invoice it, you can do all of that from within the new order screen. So maybe I want to save, allocate and dispatch. If I just select that and I say OK to that, it's generated sales order number 5106. It's now going through the whole process of printing my acknowledgement, allocating the stock and dispatching that stock out. It's just given me confirmation of the process that it's done. It's printed out my dispatch note. So if I go to my sales order list, and I'll just sort that by date so we can pick up our order. Let's have a little look at that order. And we can see now that the order quantity has been allocated and then processed through to dispatch, so it's now ready to be invoiced. So a good example of where the add-ons are going to speed up the process of your sales and sales order processing. Now, as well as adding that functionality to the sales account screens and your sales order screens, there are also some utilities that come with the pack. So in sales order processing, we can have a little look, for example, at outstanding sales orders. We're looking at sales orders that have been created for the last 12 months, but that data range can be amended. You could be specific and just look for outstanding sales orders for a specific customer. If I refresh that, we have the search facility that we looked at just now. So what we can see from here is that for Abbey Retail, we have all these lines outstanding on these sales orders. And from within the screen, we have the option to just view the order. We could allocate, print the picking list, and produce a dispatch note. So these items here, this particular sales order hasn't been allocated. So what I could do is just click on Allocate Order. So it's going to load up the details. And I just close that. And if I refresh my screen, you can see now that that sales order is now allocated. Maybe I want to print the picking list. So if I just highlight the order, select print, we've now got the picking list for that particular sales order for that customer. And then finally, maybe we want to dispatch the order. So again, just by clicking that option on this particular screen, we can see all of the items that we've currently allocated, printed the picking list for, so we can save that dispatch. That will produce the dispatch note to go out with the goods. If I now refresh my screen, that order is now removed because it's no longer outstanding. It's been dispatched and just waiting to be invoiced. So a nice quick entry screen there for your order processing. We could also have a little look at sales order dispatches and receipts. Now this just defaults to the last month, but again the date range can be changed. We're looking at all customers, But again, we could be a little more specific and just look for a specific customer. If I just refresh my screen, I can now see all of the dispatches that have been taken place within that particular date range. And there's the dispatches that we just worked on this morning. And we can view the order and look at the details of those dispatches on that specific sales order. Now, when you're entering a quotation, if I just show all quotations here and do status, okay. Basically, all you can do with an order is, a quotation rather, is enter an order and it's at status live, and then you can cancel it. What this is a quick order entry screen for you to, a quick entry screen rather, for you to change the status of your quotations. So we've got a quotation here. All we need to do is select cancel the quote, and then yes, that's now changed the status accordingly. I just close that, go back into quote status, show the quotations. Again, I could select a cancelled quotation and I can resurrect that to make it a live quotation again. So a quick order entry screen there just to change your quotation status. This one is really useful, creating sales returns from sales orders. I know it causes a lot of frustration where you've entered a sales invoice or sales order and a sales invoice for a customer. They send the goods back, and so to create a credit note, you have to start from scratch and you have to enter all the details again. What this will allow you to do is to select a sales order and create a return based on that sales order. So again, let's have a little look at our customers. So here we have Abbey Retail. We can view any order for that particular customer until we find the right order that we're actually wanting to create the return from. To create the return, we just highlight the order, we select Create Return from Order, yes to confirm we'd like to go through that process. So now we have Enter a new sales return screen with all of the sales items, all the stock items that were on that sales order have been replicated on there with the quantity, the unit price. You have all the functionality of a new sales return available to you, so you can edit an item. Perhaps you're only going to credit them for 2 rather than the full 3. Maybe you want to delete an item, you don't want to credit them for that item at all. So you still have all that standard functionality, but it's much, much easier and a quicker routine to generate that document. Now, as I mentioned right at the beginning, I've been focusing on sales, but you see within purchase order processing, you still have all that functionality within that module that we've just been through, but it's based on purchase orders as opposed to sales orders. So there you have, you can create a purchase return from a purchase order. You can look at your outstanding purchase orders from a supplier. You can look at the purchase order receipts. I'm actually going to move on now to the next pack, and we're going to look at our stock add-on utility pack. Okay, so within stock control, I'm going to go to my stock list so it's nice and clear that we're working within stock control. If I want to go to my inquiries and I want to view the stock item details or any stock inquiry, what we have again is this little binoculars icon which will allow an advanced search. As standard within Sage, you can only search for stock items based on the stock item code or the stock item name. But by clicking on that icon, I can search for any text within those fields. I could search for batch or serial numbers. I can include inactive items, and I can search for suppliers. So let's have a little look. I'm looking for 111, and I want to search for my batch serial numbers that contain that text. As soon as I hit the Find button, I now see all of the stock items where there's a batch number that doesn't only start with that, but will include the 111 in the batch number. There you go. There's an example of where it doesn't start with that text, but it includes that text. And from this screen then, I can select the stock item and I can do the inquiry as I was intending to do. We have a number of additional items here. So first of all, within stock item details, we can add an image. Okay, I'm going to close. I'm actually in View Stock Item Details rather than Amend. So I'm going to go into Amend a stock item because it'll be clearer of what we can do with our add-on pack. So I'm going to amend stock item details. I'm going to search for our 111 batch numbers, and I'm going to select that particular stock item. Okay, so at the bottom of the screen here on our details, we have image, and we can browse to an image. We can browse anywhere within our server, as long as we have access to that on our network. And I'm just going to add the Prosys logo. Now the normal size of that means it's not going to fit into that particular area that we can view. So if I just click on Fit Area, you'll be able to see the picture that you're attaching to that particular stock item. So it can be a photo of the item, it can be a drawing or a PDF file of instructions. We have here a new tab. We have a Customers tab. And if I select Add within Customers, we can select the customer, and from here, the customer code for this particular stock item. And we can also add a description. Okay. There's a little button here, Use on Documents, and if we tick that, if this customer buys this stock item from us, rather than seeing our stock code and our description, they will see their own stock code and their own description. So it just makes it easy for them to have visibility of what they're receiving and what they're ordering. You can add any number of customer details to your stock item. Now we also have, messages. And a bit similar to when we looked at the sales, we could add messages to our customer accounts. We can add messages to our stock items, and we can define where we want those messages to be displayed. So do we want it displayed just when a new order is entered, when an order is dispatched, when a purchase order is entered, when we receive goods against that purchase order, or when we add stock? We have the option to select everything, so we always want this message to be displayed regardless of the function we're processing. I'm going to say that on a POP receipt, so when we receive goods in, the message will be always book into quarantine. And that means now whenever we receive those goods, our warehouse people are going to see that message as a reminder that this item needs to go into quarantine. Let's just save that and close our screen. Okay, as well as the functionality that we've just had a little look at, if I go back to my Amend Details screen, we have the Features tab, and from here we can view batch serial numbers, view the item history, selling prices, stock item balances, buying prices, the monthly trading figures, any purchase orders, and any sales orders. So from within one screen, we have far more functionality and visibility of the data within Sage 200. Let's have a little look at some of those examples. So if we view the item history, what we're seeing here are the transactions for the last 3 months for the specific stock item that I already have open. I could be specific and say that I want to look at one at warehouse. I'm actually going to change my dates to make it, there you go, that's a little more meaningful. So those are all our transactions for that particular stock item. What I can do on the left-hand side of the screen here is be specific about what transactions I would like to see. So maybe I just want to look at all my goods in, POP goods received. So now I'm seeing just those transactions on the screen. Maybe I just want to look at all the goods out. I'll just want to look at all my sales order dispatches. And so there I'm just seeing those particular transactions. So rather than looking at all of the stock history, which you get standard within Sage, we can be a little more specific about the date range, the warehouse that we're wanting to look at, the bin number, the identification number. So if you're looking for a specific batch number, we can look for that within this screen, or even a reference. We could view the selling prices, the stock item balances from within this screen. So for this particular item, we can just click on that one button to see what we're holding at what locations. We also have our monthly trading figures. So what are our sales analysis on a month-by-month breakdown, and what's our purchase analysis on a month-by-month breakdown? What have we got on order for this particular item? So just by selecting purchase orders, we can see anything that's waiting to come in. So we have just one live order for this item. We can view the order, and we can show the quantities to see the quantity that we're waiting to receive from this particular supplier on this particular purchase order. We have the same functionality available for our sales orders. Who was waiting for this particular item? And here we have all the live sales orders. We can see the customer, and we can view the details of those sales orders for those customers. Now we also have quite a lot of extra utilities regarding stock control. So we have, for example, stock level history. So we can look for a specific date, and what this gives us is a snapshot of the stock at that particular day. We can see the free stock at the start of that day and the free stock at the end of the day, which is based on the stock change for that particular date. We can sort by that, so we can see what changed within that particular date. And we could also show the warehouse details to see the stock change occurred at the warehouse and the details of the free stock at the start and end date for that particular item. Adding stock locations. And again, I know this has been a frustration to some people. If you create a new location within Sage 200, there's no quick way to say that I want to associate that location with all the items within stock control. So we've added this new utility to allow you to do just that. What we can do is we can create a new warehouse. So I'm going to add a warehouse called Cardiff. And you could enter the details as you would when you're adding a new warehouse using standard Sage functionality. I now want to associate specific items with the Cardiff warehouse. So I'm going to say add stock items. I can be specific by doing a search, or I can just load all of my items, and I can say, right, this item, this item, this item, and this item are going to be added to my Cardiff warehouse. Or I can select all of my stock codes and then just select Create Locations, and that will associate our Cardiff warehouse for every stock item that we're holding. So if I just create the locations, and I'm going to say yes to that, and close. So let's have a little look now at one of our stock codes. If we go to locations, there you'll see the Cardiff office is associated with that particular item, as it will be with all our stock codes. We have a stock level forecast. So we can select a stock item. I just refresh, and this will show us the current quantity, what's overdue against sales orders, what's overdue against purchase orders, and hence what our estimated forecast is going to be. But more importantly, it will put it on a month-by-month breakdown, so I can see the details for May, sales and purchase, August, sales orders, purchase orders, and a moving target as we move through the calendar year. Now it is quite a long and wide screen, so you can be specific and say, right, I don't want to display the sales order and purchase order columns, I just want to see the total stock at the end of each month based on my forecasting. From this screen, you've got the option to print the details or export it all through to Excel. Number of items, other items as well. So for example, we have multi-stock transfer. At the moment, as standard within Sage 200, you can only move an item from one, sorry, you can only move one single stock item between locations. Well, if you're moving multiple items, that can be very frustrating. So what this offers you is the chance to be more, to select more items and do it in bulk. So we enter our transfer date, we enter a reference, so stock move. You could also enter a second reference. And then all we need to do is select a stock code, select the location that we want to move it from, select the quantity that we're liking to move, and select the location we'd like to move it to. We can then select another item, select the location we're moving from, select the quantity that we're moving, and the location that we're moving it to. So you can build up a nice long list of items that you're moving from different locations into any other destination location. Now I've been selecting items one at a time. There are options available to you, so you can auto-populate, select all the items from a product group, select from warehouse and select all the items that are stored in a specific warehouse. You can copy an existing line so that we have all the details there, and then we can just change whatever details we want to do. Okay, so from that warehouse, you wouldn't have done this, you'd have, and then which location copying to. We can set the destination, so rather than typing that in for every single line, we can say that we always want the destination to be Cardiff. We can view item balances, so we can see what it is we have available that we could move between locations. And finally, we can remove selected lines and we can clear the grid. But if we're happy with all the items that we're selecting, we just do transfer stock. Okay, it's giving us a warning that we're going to fall below our minimum. I'm going to say OK to that, and I'm going to say yes, I want to continue regardless of the warning that I've received. Oops. And the process is complete. So that will have moved all of our items from the location we specified to the destination that we specified. There's also a couple of import utilities available to us as well. So we can import batch serial item dates and also import search categories. And that functionality wasn't available as standard within Sage 200. Okay. The last utility that I'd like to talk you through is a separate utility for stock take routines. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the standard stock take routine first and then show you what we've done to enhance that within our add-on pack. So within Sage 200 stock control, within adjustments we have the manage stock take routine. This is warning us that we've got the add-ons installed, so that's fine. I'm going to create a new list and I'm going to do a stock take on my Cardiff office or warehouse, and I'm going to be specific about which items I want to do a stock take on. I want to count my paint and I'm going to count this panel. I'm only going to select those two items just for demonstration purposes, with the idea being that one item is a batch numbered item and our panel is not a batch numbered item. So I'm going to save and print our stock take sheet, and you can see that that's not displayed anything because it's a batch numbered item, so there's nothing to report on. Let's enter the values. Okie dokie. I'm going to say that our panel, we've actually found 5 items within the Cardiff warehouse, and our paint, we also found 5 litres in there. Okay. Now, because we've got the add-on installed, what it's doing is asking us for the batch number that we want to add as part of our stock take. So I'm going to add batch number paint 111. It's asking us for the sell-by date, and the actual quantity in that particular batch. We could have a split batch and we could add more than one batch number. If I save and print that, what we're getting now is the discrepancy report. Okay, so it's putting us a discrepancy for the paint, and it's telling us the difference on our panels. I'm now going to complete our stock take. And I'm going to close that down. Okay, let's have a little look at our paint. If I just go to view your balances, okay, you'll see that the Cardiff, it hasn't booked that paint in because the standard stock take routine won't allow you to do the stock adjustment if it's a batch numbered item. And this is what we've managed to do within our own stock take routine. So let's run through that process again using the Prosys stock take routine. Right, so let's create a new list. Again, I'm going to select our Cardiff warehouse. And again, I'm going to select our same two items. So back down to our paint and our panel. Save and print that. Okay. And there we have the panel because we have some in stock. Let's now enter the values. Okay, stock take date. I'm going to say now our actual quantity of paint again is going to be 5. Again, I'm going to add the batch number, sell by date, and our actual quantity of 5. I'm going to say we've actually got 10 panels in, and I'm going to say OK to that. If we go to view batch serial items, this is now showing me the pending stock take items. It's showing me the paint that I've found within my warehouse. It's showing me the serial number or the batch number, the expected quantity, the actual quantity, and the variance. Now what I could do here is I could be more specific about what I want to view on this screen. I can view everything which is by default. Just look at the items that have increased in quantity. Just the items that have decreased in quantity, which is nothing. Everything that's just been changed, whether it's gone up or down, or anything that has had no change. And we're looking here at the batch number details. From this screen, I could export to CSV, so I've got that as a reference for me to check. We also have Discover. Okay, so if I've created any new locations prior to actually creating my stock take, I can add those locations to that stock count. But now when I complete, and I say yes to that, I've got this option to confirm the process. The standard non-traceable stock adjustments have been completed, so it's updated my panel as it would have done using the standard Sage stock take routine. It's just asked me to confirm that I'd like to continue and process the batch adjustments. I can select Review from here, and that will show the screen that we were just previously looking at with all the details of the batch numbers that have changed. And from here, I could export it to CSV. I could say, no, I don't want to update my batch numbers, and that will mean that I need to then manually go and add the stock or remove the stock using the standard Sage screens. But if I say yes to that, it's now updated my batch items with the batches that we've added within this particular stock take. So again, if I now go and have a little look at the history, or the balances rather, for my paint, we'll now see that I've got 5 items in stock in my Cardiff warehouse, and if we look at the batch number details, that's the batch that we just booked in using our stock take routine. Okay. Now that just about brings us to the end of our demonstration here this morning. Now, as I sort of mentioned in the sort of write-up really about the session today, I've been demonstrating our standard add-on packs. So the details for our stock take add-on, our stock add-ons, our sales and purchase add-ons. But hopefully it'll give you an idea of the sort of things that we can just develop bespoke to yourselves individually. Each business has their own processes and their own routines that they need to follow. And what we can do as developers of Sage 200 is to replicate your processes within Sage 200, which will actually allow the system to match your processes and to streamline your business processes. So as well as our standard add-on packs, we have a team of developers here that are just working on development and making bespoking Sage 200 for individual business requirements. That brings us to the end of this morning's session, so thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions or you'd like me get in touch with me, please just email me or phone me sort of throughout the course of the day, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. On another note, please remember it's our customer day on the 23rd of June at the Swellock Stadium, and we'd love you all to be there. We have lots of things to show you with regards to the new version of Sage 200, the version 2016, and some of the add-on and extra bits and pieces that you can get from Sage 200. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.